Well, this is a conversation we need to have sooner or later anyway. When are you going to think about paying off that large personal debt you have? Well, guess what? In today's conversation, I'm going to help you actually giving you the step by steps, whatever methodology you need, the process you need, the proven steps you need to pay off a large personal debt. And I'm going to show you how to do this in a ridiculously quick and painless way. So stick around till the end of today's conversation. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweaty Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as splendid as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. What's the convo today about? The convo is pretty simple. We have a simple topic: how to pay off a large personal debt in an insanely quick and painless way. But before I get into the nitty gritty, I want you to look at the screen right now. This is today's topic, today's agenda. I have 6 steps for you. And first, I'm going to show you how to get your act together, how to have a game plan, how to use technology to your advantage in helping you paying off a large personal debt, how to seek help, how to increase your cash flows, and how to create the new you. Very important. You got to create the new you. But before we get into the nitty gritty, let me first explain to you that when we speak about paying off a large personal debt, we have to pay attention to a very important metric: DTI. Remember those 3 letters, DTI, debt to income ratio. That's where the whole game is played. All right. Your debt to income ratio measures the amount of your income being spent on debt each month. And most lenders pay attention to that. And the lower your debt to income ratio, the better, because it means that you don't spend much of your income paying debt. On the other hand, a high DTI ratio means more of your income is spent on debt, leaving you with less money to spend on other bills or save and interest. The bottom line here is what? Lenders are looking at you and they're thinking, "Whew, this is a huge risk. Look at the DTI. It's kind of high. We're not really approving any loan for this person. This borrower is toast. We're not really getting this. We're not approving this loan." So instead of stressing out about a large debt, you need to be very strategic. You need to look things with a cleared eye and have a tactic, a clear, proven plan to tackle the issue. All right. So the impact of a high debt to income ratio is pervasive. It can impact your credit score. In other words, you're going to see a huge dent in your credit score. It can prevent you from getting loans at affordable rates. For example, a mortgage, a student loan, a credit card, all this kind of stuff that are just going to mess up your life on a daily basis. So we're going to fix that today. Today, we are going to fix that. All right. So as I go through the steps by steps, please understand that my goal is to reduce your DTI. That's the most important thing. It's not about your FICO score. It's not about the most important element here is your DTI, debt to income ratio. Let's get into the step by steps right now. So the first step is if you're trying to pay off a large personal debt in a ridiculously quick and painful and painless way, you need to get your act together. Very important. And there are 5 things you need to do. If I'm asking you right now, did you get your act together? To answer that question, you need to answer yes to 5 important elements. Number 1, know exactly how much you owe. You need to have a clear idea of how much you owe. And you need to have a clear idea about the types of loans you have: credit cards, car loans, medical loans, student loans, mortgages. You need to take a piece of paper, write down each type of loan, have a category and the amount. That way you have a clear idea. It's very important to clarify to yourself first, because everything happens in your brain. Did you hear that? In your brain, everything happens in your brain. You need to have a clear idea of how much you owe first before starting to tackle the issue. So once you have a clear idea of how much you owe, you need to check your credit score to make sure you don't have unknown debts or negative reports owing to identity theft. That's pretty bad. Yeah. We live in an era where people are just stealing people's identities like crazy. So you need to check your credit score. Make sure that you don't have any debt you're not aware of that's just featured on your credit report. And also nobody else is messing up with your credit, with your identity out there. And then you create a budget. The first step to relieving debt issues is to create a budget. You want to have a clear idea. You want to have a specific goal in mind in terms of your expenses and income. And then you need to halt your credit card spending, right? Because everything happened from there in the first place. I don't know your personal story, but if you are indebted, if you have a huge debt load over your head, chances are you overspend, right? Stuff happens, life goes on. I'm not getting to your personal issue, your personal affairs here, but you need to halt the spending, whether it is credit card related or in a personal loan related to a personal loan. You need to halt it. You need to stop it. And then you need to please delete credit card information from online stores. Yeah, I heard you. Let me repeat that. Delete credit card information from online stores. You might be laughing right there. You might be thinking, why? What is the causal relationship between my indebtedness, my huge debt load, and the credit card information from online stores? Well, guess what? It's all about cutting off that temptation. You need to clear your browsers. You need to remove those cookies. I'm not naming any online stores here because I don't want to be I don't want to get in trouble here. But it's important to know exactly what you need. Okay? So that's very important. And the first thing you need to do here is to get your act together and understand exactly what is needed in terms of opportunities. Okay? This is something that's very important. Speaking about opportunities, you also need to have a game plan, right? This is something that I really want to talk to you about because this is very important. What is the game plan about? The game plan is about making sure that you are in the right mindset. You need to have the right analytical foundation to pay off a large personal debt in a quick and painless way. First, you need to negotiate with lenders. Talk to the lenders. Those lenders, they're not strangers, they're not foreigners. They understand your language. They loan the money to you in the first place, so they're just trying to cover their ass too. They're just trying to mitigate their risk. So if if God forbid you default on the loan, they are going to lose money. So whenever a borrower defaults, a lender has to write off something called, they have to make a journal entry, an accounting journal entry called allowance for doubtful accounts. That's a loss. Okay, so they don't want that. So they want to talk to you, explain to them what's going on in your life. You also need to basically pay off the most expensive debt first. So once you have a clear idea of the different types of loans and debts that you have, start tackling the most expensive debt first. Okay, you can sort your credit cards and loans by interest rates from highest to lowest, and then you start tackling the card or loan with the highest rate first. And please pay more than the minimum balance. If you really want to make a dent in your debt, the secret is to start paying more than the minimum balance. I don't care about the margin by which you pay off the minimum balance, whether it is 10% more or 20% more or 30% more. What really matters is the routine, the discipline, the mental journey, the mental resolution that, listen, you know what? I'm going to actually pay this more. I'm not going to just pay the $50 that they want me to pay every month. I'm going to pay $75. I'm going to pay $100. Because I can afford it. And if that means that I'm not going to happy hours on Thursday or Friday, that's fine, because that extra cash that I'm putting towards my debt is going to help me anyway in the long run. Okay. And you also need to delete credit. You also need to think about taking advantage of balance transfers. Every now and then you might have balance transfer offers from credit card companies, right? And those can help you also in terms of debt consolidation, not just transferring balances from higher APR credit cards to lower APR credit cards. You can also get the cash from a credit card issuer and pay off a large loan, a large personal loan. So you want to think about that. Step number 3. So folks, we are here talking about how to pay off a large personal debt in a ridiculously quick and painless way. First step, you need to get your act together. Number two, you need to have a game plan. You need to have a strategy. Very important. Number three, you need to use technology to your advantage. It's very important. We live in an era of technology, right? We have AI, artificial intelligence. We have a new crop of companies out there that are they're willing to help folks like you who are currently dealing with high debt. So you have the fintech companies, the financial technology companies, right? Use technology to your advantage. Don't sit around just worrying about what's going on in your life in terms of your personal life and wondering what's going to happen to you 24 hours from now, 1 week from now, or 1 month from now. No, you want to take action, and technology is your friend, my friend. Technology is your friend. How do you use technology? There are two ways. There are actually 2 or 3 ways to use technology. First, you can use a debt repayment app. So a good first step to managing your debt is knowing the balance details of all your accounts, which is reported in your credit report, right? And you can use a debt repayment app, and you have a large constellation of debt repayment apps out there that are going to help you from apps released by traditional banks such as Capital One to the newcomers such as Undeaded. You have Unbury Me, you have Tally, you have Loan Buddy, you have Paid for X, you have Vertex 42. There is a large array, there is a wide gamut of apps out there that can help you. Okay, so that's one. Number two, use free personal finance software like Mint, GNU Cash, Ace Money Lite, Personal Capital, or Booty. And there are others. I mean, there is a large array of apps out there and free personal finance software tools that can help you. I'm not asking you to pay for anything because, first of all, we're talking about what? We're talking about paying off a large personal debt. So I'm not actually pushing any solution that would involve more spending from you. No, everything I'm talking about is free. It is free as long as you're willing to put in the work, as long as you're willing to take a piece of paper and write down exactly what I'm telling you right now. And the third part of the trifecta in terms of using technology to your advantage is to use credit builder apps. And this is a new crop of apps, financial apps that help you build credit. And here I'm referring to apps such as Self, Chime, or Kickoff. And those are great. Again, the list here is not exhaustive. There are many more apps out there, but those are the good apps that we have reviewed on this show and that we can tell you point blank that they are good. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We're also having a conversation about how to pay off a large personal debt in a ridiculously quick and painless way. And step number 1, I told you how to get your act together. Number 2, you needed to have a game plan. Number 3, you need to use technology to your advantage. Number 4, please seek help. Don't think that this is a lonely adventure here. No, this is not a lonely journey. Don't sit around there worrying about, oh, I'm the only one here. What's going to happen to me and my family? I owe $50K. I'm getting phone calls from debt collection agencies all day. I have to turn up my phone. I have to turn up my home phone, my landline, my cell phone. All this thing is pretty, it's normal. It happens to everybody. Been there, done that. What you need to do here is to seek help. You need to have a plan and seek help. And there are a couple of things you can do. Please consider debt consolidation. Debt consolidation allows you to repay your debt in a single loan with one monthly payment, often at a lower interest rate. Okay? Don't confuse this with debt relief. Totally different. Debt relief or debt cancellation is the partial or total forgiveness of debt or the slowing or stopping of debt growth owed by an individual, corporation, or nation. You don't want that because that's going to affect your credit score. As long as, if it is possible, I would say go with debt consolidation. Unless you really have to, do not seek debt relief. All right. And debt consolidation means that you are talking with your lenders. You are having a conversation with them. You are explaining to them what's going on. You can even contact a non-for-profit that's specialized in debt consolidation and debt relief. You have a lot of if you go on Google right now, my friend, if you go on Google and just type in debt consolidation, non-for-profit, you're going to have gazillions results. All right. So it's all about looking for a free way to reduce your debt or eliminate it. Please, the same thing. My advice also applies for bankruptcy. Do not file for bankruptcy unless you really, 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 really have to. Because again, if you don't want to mess up your credit score, your credit history for 7 or 10 years, guess what? You want to stay away from bankruptcy right now. As long as you can avoid it, please do not do it. You can also seek a debt relief buddy or group. What I'm trying to say here is that you want to create some kind of accountability. So if you're doing something yourself by yourself, loneliness can be very discouraging. But if you are part of a group, if you're part of a duet, if you're part of a triplet, if you're part of a quatuor, if you have a group around you, the energy of the group, the courage of the group, the cheering up of the group can help you actually pay off a large personal debt in a ridiculously quick and painless way. So seek the energy of the group. And again, you want to look for those kind of groups locally, in your entourage, in your family. Ask around in your professional network so you have people to fall back on. Step number 5. If you really want to pay off a large personal debt in an insanely quick and painless way, you want to increase your cash flows. Because remember, you got into this mess in the first place because of well, I don't know your personal story, so I can't really judge here. But based on our analysis, we know that people overspend. Of course, life happens. You get into some kind of trouble, or you get into an accident, medical loans, and you have a large debt. But that's really the minority. In the majority of cases, people overspend. So you got into this mess in the first place because you are overspending. So now it is about time to reverse the tide. And how do you do that? Think about it. How do you do that? I'm listening. How do you do that? Very simple. You just need to either reduce your expenses or increase your revenue. And we're going to talk about increasing your cash flows. There are a couple of ways you can do this. You need to increase your income with a side hustle. You can get a gig. You can work online. There are a lot of websites right now on the internet that will allow you to get some extra cash here, right? You have sites like Fiverr, Freelancer, or Upwork, where you can get some ka-ching from time to time, right? You can actually parlay your experience into a lucrative career or a side career. So this is pretty good. Another way to raise extra cash also is to sell unwanted or useless gifts and household items. If you're like my mother, God bless her, and mama say hi, but if you are like my mother, you probably have a lot of useless and unwanted household items and gifts in the house. Maybe you were very happy. You were doing some window shopping back in the days, and something was on sale, quote unquote, on sale, and you just wanted to jump on it. You bought it, and you never used it ever since. Now is the time to unload it. Now is the time to actually sell it, and you can specialize now in reselling. There are a lot of sites out there, including eBay, including Etsy, where you can really unload all the stuff that you have in your house, where you just need to make some cash. And you can even consider flea markets, local markets. All these venues are great opportunities. You also want to ask for more hours at work. Do more overtime, right? It's all about raising the extra cash, and also reduce spending by taking advantage of deals. So you always want to look for shopping deals and free giveaways to avoid overspending. That way you are not only reducing your expenses, but you're also increasing your revenue. Step number 6, folks. I'm talking to you, and this is an important step. Our goal is to pay off a large personal debt in a ridiculously quick and painless way. How do we do this? We need to create the new you. And by the new you, I mean the new financial you. It's all about the mindset. Did you hear that? Mindset. It's all in your mind. The way your relationship with money, your rapport with cash, with finances. Okay, you need to change your habits. Your daily habits and routines are the reason you got into this mess in the first place. So you want to spend some time thinking about how you spend money each day, each week, and each month. Do you really need your daily latte? That cappuccino, do you really need that? Can you bring in your lunch to work instead of buying it 4 times a week or 5 times a week? Ask yourself, what can I change without sacrificing my lifestyle too much or my family lifestyle? And you want to avoid returning to bad habits when you reach your goal. Very important. Okay, you need to, and this is what I mean by creating the new you. You need to actually clean up the software. You need to do a reboot. Again, from a financial perspective, I'm not asking you to change your entire life. I'm not asking you to change your entourage, your friends, family, your your colleagues. No, I'm just asking to change your financial mindset. And so you can avoid returning to the bad habits that got you into the mess in the first place. You want to reward yourself when you reach milestones, right? If your goal is to pay off a large personal debt, let's say in 6 months or 1 year, and you are on pace to reaching that goal within 3 months, after 3 months, treat yourself, reward yourself. It's okay. It's pretty cool, right? So once you reach your goals or your sub goals, it's important to maintain your newfound mindset. All right. Even if you've paid off your credit card debt, it can be easy to slide back into old habits. So it's important to change how you think about credit cards and loans so you don't end up in the same spot. And you want to avoid temptations. This is very important. And another thing that I want you to do right now is to monitor your credit history. And again, here, all the tips I've given you in today's conversation are free. To monitor your credit history, to have access your credit score, you don't need to pay anything. There is a law that Congress passed a few years ago that allows everybody, every citizen, to access his or her credit report once a year. And you have to go to a website called annualcredit.com, annualcreditreport.com, that allows you to see your credit report for free. And you want to constantly monitor the credit history to make sure, again, that everything is accurate on there. And you want to see the progress. If you're paying off debt, you want to see the progress on your credit score. That will encourage you. Okay, so this is important. And you have 3 credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So you can actually, in theory, you can access your credit report 3 times a year. So you can access your Experian report for free in January. You can access your Equifax report for free, let's say around May, and you can do the same thing for TransUnion around September or October. All right, so here you have it. All right, folks, this is the end of today's conversation. I was having a quick convo with you about how to pay off a large personal debt in a ridiculously quick and painless way. And there are 6 steps you need to follow. First, you need to get your act together. Number 2, you need to have a game plan. Number 3, you need to use technology to your advantage. Number 4, you need to seek help. Number 5, you need to increase your cash flows. And number 6, you need to create the new you. Yes, the new you. All right. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.